right, peace and love. Always a good way to get our group started, don't you think?
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, certainly a respite, if you will, from the ways of the world.
Yes.
Yeah. And so let me, tonight is our Unity of Livonia, A Course in Miracles study group. It is Wednesday, April 16th, around 7 p.m. Eastern. And we've got, I guess, a relatively small, but all the same mighty group of folks here interested in A Course in Miracles. And we're doing our, basically, it's become a year-round study of the Course, because last year, for the first time, remember, we had not only done our regular 12-month study of the Course, but then we embarked on the studies of the two supplements, psychotherapy and the Song of Prayer. And at least to me, what I thought would be a relatively brief study over the summer ended up taking from July to December to complete. So y'all remember that when we did the supplements? Were any of you here last summer?
I was in on the end of it.
Oh, on the end of it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I thought it was very valuable. Welcome, Kathy. Glad you could join us. We were just getting started here, but basically, I was just talking about how our study of A Course in Miracles not only includes a 12-month study of the Course in Miracles itself, but also another 6-month study now, that it takes us to study the two supplements. Kathy, are you aware of those, by the way? Psychotherapy and Song of Prayer? Oh, I can't hear you. Hold on. Let me get you to unmute here.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Could you
Okay.
hear me, what I was saying about? Are you familiar with the two supplements?
I'm aware of them, but don't know how, I can't remember how to access them or use them.
Well, we most of us here, I guess, are using the 3rd edition of A Course in Miracles.
Okay.
And if you have the 3rd edition, it'll say right on the cover, it includes the text, workbook for students, and manual for teachers, but then it'll say supplements.
Mm.
All right.
Yeah,
So,
I do not have that one.
okay. Well, in any event, we've got plenty to cover besides discussing that. But just to let you know about it, and I think it's a value. Yeah, okay, I'm glad I did it. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, to stay on our agenda, I wonder, any questions or comments to date about what we studied last week. We were on chapter 14, I believe, and lessons around 92 or something like that. Do you have any comments or questions about that? As all right, well, I do. Okay. All right.
Fire away.
Yeah. Uh, do me a favor. Let's go to page 270 in the text, and it's chapter 14, Teaching for Truth. Do you all see it?
Yep.
Okay. And there's the introduction and then section 1, the conditions of learning. It's well, let me just stay on point here. Paragraph 1. Could we assign our readers? I want to read paragraph 1 and see if you guys can help me with it. Because it kind of goes in and out of my head. Like sometimes I think yes, I understand this. And then it'll come back and now, what was the answer to that again? So it's just kind of stuck with me to the point that I said, since these guys never bring anything up to discuss, maybe you could help me out, right?
Try.
So if it's okay, reader wise, Sherilyn is number 1, Frank is number 2, Jan's not reading, Hilda's 3, Kathy's 4. How about I put myself on the list tonight? I'll be reader 5. So help me out with this. Sherilyn, just read paragraph 1 and starting with the title of the section.
Okay.
And then
Yes.
I'll ask my question, okay?
Now, we have paragraph 1 under the conditions of learning and under the introduction. Where do you want me to start?
Under the conditions of learning. That's what this section is going to be about. Thank you.
Okay. The conditions of learning. If you are blessed and do not know it, you need to learn it must be so. The knowledge is not taught, but its conditions must be acquired, for it is they that have been thrown away. You can learn to bless and cannot give what you have not. If then you offer blessing, it must have come first to yourself, and you must also have accepted it as yours, for how else could you give it away? That is why miracles offer you the testimony that you are blessed. If what you are,
do me a favor, excuse the interruption, but just, I don't mean to, if it's helpful, whenever you see a word in italics, extra oomph, whether it's
Okay.
in your mind or whatever.
Okay.
So I would read it like, that is why miracles offer you
The testimony.
the
Gotcha.
testimony. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay, go ahead if that's helpful to anyone.
Okay. That is why miracles offer you the testimony that you are blessed. If what you offer is complete forgiveness, you must have let guilt go, accepting the atonement for yourself and learning you are guiltless. How could you learn what has been done for you unknown to you unless you do what you would have to do if it had been done for you? I
And
need to read that
so
last.
could you read sentence 8 again, please?
How could you learn what has been done for you unknown to you unless you do what you would have to do if it had been done for you?
And that's the question I wanted to talk about.
Mhm.
Sentence 8, I kind of read direct so you could get it in context. And more particularly within the context of Jesus is going to talk about in this section the conditions of learning, right?
Mhm.
So he's starting to do that. I'm trying to see, did we lose somebody or something? Maybe not. I'm sorry. Let me just continue. What does that sentence mean to? What are your comments about what that means? Just sentence 8.
How can I teach something unless I've already received it within myself? How can I give to someone else when I when I don't have it to begin with, or unless I have learned it from another source?
So thank you. To me, that means for me to accept this as true, even though it was unknown to me, the miracle is that I do it blindly.
I'm tending to read the sentence backwards and start with the last part first.
Yeah, it's very,
It's kind of double talk, isn't it?
yeah.
Yes.
And yet it's talking about what, remember, I was telling her to emphasize italicized words. And these are things that we have to do for ourselves. These are things to start meeting the conditions of learning. That's why he's starting to talk about that. So it's kind of a blind faith that the only way I can see this working is to give it a try in order to know it's in me. I have to see evidence of it, and the only way to see the evidence is to do it. I not only have to plan my work, but I have to work my plan. And when I can start seeing the evidence of it in me, it becomes genuinely shareable. So it's a demonstration. It's not an act of sharing or evangelizing or talking to people. It's a demonstration. It's lived. What do you think? Am I getting too deep?
Yeah, it's pretty deep. I got to think about it.
Well, but I kind of thought about it in a different way, because in sentence 6, it says, that is why miracles offer you the testimony that you're blessed. And I think that's where we go out from. And then it really just kind of reiterates that we have it in us already. We just have to bring it out into the open.
And and the bringing it out into to the open is a demonstration of it to whom?
To the
See
world.
that italicized word?
Yes.
No, it's to the world. I mean, it's to other people.
No.
No.
To me, it is.
I would disagree. That's
Okay.
why they italicized the word you.
You-
Do you see it in 6? That is why miracles offer you the testimony that you are blessed. Look at sentence 1 to that paragraph. He says, if you are blessed and do not know it, you need to learn it must be so.
Yeah.
So here's the way to learn it for yourself. It's going to be to teach it. But your teaching becomes a demonstration to you, as well as you're just sharing what's your it's for you to go through this path. Along the way, you can't help but share it because you're a miracle. I mean, you don't just talk about it. 77. I am entitled to miracles. So, the sole responsibility of the miracle worker is to accept the atonement for themselves, and it will, of its own nature, become a shareable. Of its own nature, you will become a demonstration.
That's
So it's trying to tell us that you have to do this for yourself. Seriously,
Mhm.
in order to know that it's alive. That it's not, it is reality. How's that? So, do you think that a good answer came back to me here, or what are your thoughts?
Well, that's what it sounds like to me, that you can't really um, do anything to help others or teach others unless it's something that you have experienced yourself.
You can't give
What
what
you ain't got.
you don't have. If you don't have, how could
Right.
you give miracles if you don't have them for yourself? I mean, that's not going to church. That just defies logic, right? Even as we know it. So do you see why it was such double talk?
Yeah.
And um, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, good. You know, what I get these little whispers of excitement because the whole double talk thing, it almost sounds like if you can learn and read, and understand what we are doing here, that it almost becomes easy, and it takes the heat off of kind of doing anything, because you can just be who you are, and good things come from that, miracles come from that. And I do believe I've experienced a little tiny hint of it every once in a while, not consistent, and that's why I stick with this, because I want to feel it more consistently. And kind of anyway, I just feel like it takes the heat off. If I can if I can have this work through me, in me, and how I, think, speak, and do, then it's like it becomes easy. Not that this is easy. Does that make sense? I feel like I'm talking in circles, but
Oh, you're
I
making
know
sense.
what.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I think it's absolutely beautiful what you're saying, because to me, Kathy, you're describing the same experiences that I'm having,
Yeah,
and they are very compelling.
very compelling. And I've also, I don't know, a couple months ago, I was through a heightened existential crisis. And I'm not anymore. And it'll come and go, I know, but or maybe, but all of a sudden I can feel anchored and settled and content, kind of a selfish thing, but I like it. And um and just to trust, and it's liberating in the midst of so many challenges, everywhere.
So if you start working with that and living our lives from that experience, here, what I find is the more I let go and let God, the more I experience peace, the easier my life becomes. I become more carefree, because my life moved from point A to point B, but I was worry free, and it worked. It worked is better than when I used to worry about it.
Yeah, it's like jumping off a cliff.
Julie, did I say hello to you? Hello. We got the party started here. I think she's here. Yeah, iPhone Julie.
Hi,
Hey,
I'm here. I'm driving right now,
all
so
right.
I'm just listening. Thank you.
Well, good to have you here. We're just reviewing really just one paragraph from last week in chapter 14. And it's going to talk about the conditions for learning. And one of the things is you have to try this for yourself before you can share it. Your goal is not to share it, but to receive it, and the sharing will come as a consequence. That's genuine sharing, because it's a true demonstration, not in symbols, but in content. Yes?
Right.
Yes.
Yes. And I have a question though about that. So I understand that. And then every once in a while I'll be speaking with friends, and I don't know, there'll be something that I'm inspired by that I want to share. And so then I don't want to sound like I'm pushy, proselytizing, or anything, but it's like, oh my gosh, I'm reading A Course in Miracle and something, I'll relay the message that I got through that. And is that cool to do? I mean, because I don't want to overstep, but so it's kind of like,
That's part of the problem. If you were concerned about overstepping, isn't that a sign that you're trying to control something instead of letting go and letting God?
maybe, or is it, I'm excited and I want to share what I learned.
What the hell is wrong with that?
Okay, thank you.
It's just that we're operating in the realm of people in denial. What's the definition of denial according to the Course? A decision not to know. For whatever reason, we believe it's the idea of separation and the ego and all of that. They've chosen if you try and tell them the truth directly, they'll read the opening line to paragraph 2 on page 270. Let's just go to Frank. Read the opening sentence there.
Indirect proof of truth is needed in a world made of denial and without direction.
So keep in mind, doing good in the world requires a very sophisticated strategy, because you're up against people who unknowingly have been in denial because of the ego's belief in the value of separation, being individuals. So you need a very crafty mind to carry out a plan like that, wouldn't you think?
Mhm.
So if this letting go and letting God is as cracked up as they say it is, I would let that voice tell me what to say and what to do. Have you seen that before? Does that sound familiar?
Let
So
go and let God.
go to page 28 in your book. In the text, it's on page 28. And I'm going to see if we can put a wrap on this and move on. But this is, I am here only to be truly helpful. Anybody heard that one?
Mhm.
What do those words say?
Let
Let's,
go.
Frank, you already read, right, Frank?
Yes.
So Hilda, read that to me, okay? In italics on page 20.
Yeah, I got it.
All right.
I got it. I'm here to be truly helpful. I am here to represent him who sent me. I do not have to worry about what to say and what to do, because he who sent me will direct me. I am content to be wherever he wishes, knowing he goes with me. I will be healed as I let him teach me to heal.
So, Kathy, I'm still on your commentary. You with me? Kathy?
Did we lose her?
Oh, I hope not. Anywho,
She's on mute.
yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Okay,
And
I'm having a tough time with my audio and video. But anyway, so yes, I'm listening to you.
so we just read from page 28 in that italicized paragraph, right?
Yes.
And the sentence says, I do not have to worry about what to say or what to do because he who sent me will direct me. So I'm just trying to respond to your questions about how you should share A
Okay,
Course in Miracles with others.
that's
This
very helpful.
this voice is omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent, right?
Right.
So should have a plan to figure out what to say and what to do. But do you see how difficult it is for you to remember to live that? You have to do this for yourself. And you wouldn't have even had to share it, right? Per se, it would just be so natural what would come out, right?
Right.
If, if, if this really works.
But
And I'm willing to
isn't
bet you'll see that it does, and it'll make your life easier because you won't have to worry about it. You with me?
Yes,
Mhm.
Kathy, you with me?
yes and no, because so does that mean that if I say, oh, I learned this thing and it's in A Course in Miracles, that probably isn't the best direction to go, but once I do this for me, then it won't have to be phrased in that way because it will just naturally manifest without being so specific.
Let go. Stop worrying about it.
Ah,
Worry's a block. It's a trick. Plus, it makes you suffer. How
okay.
can you be carefree in your conversations?
okay, right
How
on.
can you be genuine? How can you be exuberant and free?
Thank you, Jim.
You're
Yep,
welcome.
thank you.
Now,
I
you
appreciate
see,
it.
I'm not picking on you, buddy, okay, Kathy?
No, yeah, correct.
But if this really worked, then I go back to how could you learn what has been done for you unknown to you unless you do what you would have to do if it happened, if you was really carefree, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Is that being too hard? You understand? It's sometimes you need brothers and sisters. That's why you're here, right?
That's right. No, actually, it's liberating and it makes me very happy to hear this.
So we turn concern to joy just with a different. See what we're trying to do? We're trying to be open to these new experiences because you can't have them if they're blocked. You got to really give it a try. But when you see it works and how you went through it with joy instead of anxiety, apprehension, it's like when you taste it, you go, wow, it's like out of this world, right?
Right.
Okay. Enough on that, right? Everybody good here?
Sure.
Yeah, it was good.
All right. Thank you very much. Let's go into the next item, which was our workbook lesson for tonight. And it's on page 177, lesson 99, right?
177? Oh, workbook.
It's on page 177 in the workbook. Do I have that right?
Now I'm with you.
Am I on the right lesson?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm showing, gee, Kathy, you're our next reader. You reading?
Okay. Lesson 99. Salvation is my only function here. Salvation and forgiveness are the same. They both imply that something has gone wrong, something to be saved from, forgiven for, something amiss that needs corrective change, something apart or different from the will of God. Thus, do both terms imply a thing impossible, but which has occurred, resulting in a state of conflict seen between what is and what could never be. Keep
Comments?
going.
Yeah, what the heck? Do another, and then we'll go to Julie if she's reading tonight. But do another, Kathy. I'm feeling in the mood.
Sure. Truth and illusions both are equal now, for both have happened. The impossible becomes the thing you need forgiveness for, salvation from. Salvation now becomes the borderland between the truth and the illusion. It reflects the truth because it is the means by which you can escape illusions. Yet it is not yet the truth because it undoes what was never done.
Mm. Wow, there's so much here. We only got so much time. So, what are your comments on paragraphs 1 or 2?
I think it's exciting.
What is?
To be on the precipice of learning, maybe behaving, living in a truth that is different, but is right, or I'm not sure what the word is.
Yeah, I think it would be amazing. Other comments on these 2 paragraphs? Let me offer a metaphor maybe for sentence 1. Jesus says salvation and forgiveness are the same. Does that mean that if I forgive, I will be saved?
No.
Why? Why are you disagreeing with or answering my question in the negative? Yeah.
Because one doesn't lead to another, they're the same. Just because you forgive doesn't mean you're going to be saved. You're already saved. You're already, yeah.
Yeah, it's quite interesting that I disagree with you on the process, but I agree with your conclusion. Okay, irrespective of whether salvation and forgiveness are the same, it also says in that last sentence, or it's, yeah, sentence 3, thus do both terms imply a thing impossible, but yet which has occurred, which resulting in a state of conflict seen between what is and what could never be. So even though forgiveness, to my mind, is salvation, there's a more practical explanation to the whole thing. The tiny mad idea, y'all know what I'm talking about, says the impossible is possible. Is that a contradiction in terms in and of itself? Somebody?
Well, the tiny mad idea is that we separated from God, and that's not possible for us to separate.
Okay,
from God.
so do you see that forgiveness being salvation? The reason is not only am I saved, but the whole thing never happened because it was impossible. And that's where Kathy added to me another level of understanding. But as a working definition, a process definition, I can be saved by letting go and letting God. How am I doing, Kathy?
It's hard.
Oh, I didn't get to that part yet, but in theory, all right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You see how these deep issues are. It's like, how far down the rabbit hole do you want to go? But it's not about question after question after question. It's about letting go and seeing if it works. Who is it that doesn't want us to let go? It starts with a
E.
E.
Ego.
It's alive, it's well, it's active, it's strong. But you can't go on appearances. You have to go with this unknown power that everyone says you have, and Jesus, and but you have to, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink, you see? So salvation and forgiveness are the same in terms of spiritual process. Are you with me? But once you're saved, you'll make the remarkable awareness that you never had anything to be saved from, because it's impossible to make the impossible. Somebody say it for me.
Possible.
Does that make as much sense as the teachings of the world? All right, let's go on, okay? Excuse me. If I'm correct, are we on paragraph 3?
Yes.
Yes.
And are we up to Hildegard again?
Oh, no.
No? Page 177 in the workbook,
All right,
paragraph 3.
I'll read it.
Okay,
How
all
could
right.
there be a meeting place at all where earth and heaven can be reconciled within a mind where both of them exist? The mind that sees illusions thinks them real. They have existence in that they are thoughts, and yet they are not real because the mind that thinks these thoughts is separate from God.
Read another, please, Hildegard.
Okay,
And somebody new is here. Let me just check. Let's see, is that Julie on? No. Who
Ron.
is
Ron.
Zoom 1? Is that Ron? All right. Glad you could be here, brother. Good to see you.
I'm glad to be here too. Thank you.
Glad to hear Ron.
We're in the workbook for students, Ron, page
Okay.
177, and we're at lesson 99, paragraph 3. Hilda had just read 3 and was going to 4. Is that right, Hilda?
yep, sounds good to me.
Okay, and so Ron, just get right in there wherever we are. Go ahead, Hilda.
I'm there. Thank you.
All right.
What joins the separated mind and thoughts with mind and thought, which are forever one? What plan could hold the truth inviolate, yet recognize the need illusions bring, and offer means by which they are undone without attack and with no touch of pain? What but a thought of God could be this plan, by which the never done is overlooked and sins forgotten, which were never real?
Okay. Comments? Let's read a bit more. Boy, I'm having trouble restraining here. In one moment, though, maybe this is relevant and connected to what we've been talking about. In paragraph 4, let's answer these questions he's asking. Did you notice how many questions there are? Question 1, Jesus asks, what joins the separated mind and thoughts you see with the small m and the small t with mind and thought which are forever one? What does?
The thought of God or the Holy Spirit shows you another way to look at it.
That's true. Just go a little deeper with me. What we're talking about in this paragraph, I believe, I just went through once. Let's say it and see if it comes out. The answer to all of these questions is basically, it's impossible, nothing. For example, what is it that could join a separated mind and thoughts with mind and thought, which are how long one?
Forever.
Forever.
So there was no separation ever, right?
Right?
So the answer is nothing. Question 2, what plan could hold the truth inviolate, not violate the truth, yet recognize the need illusions bring, and offer means by which illusions are undone without attack and with no touch of pain. Well, to me, the answer there is it's meaningless. It never happened. It's unforced error. It's needlessly expended energy to even contemplate that something could hold the truth as inviolate. What does inviolate mean?
Not
It
valid.
can't be violated, right? Yes.
Okay,
Untouchable.
And yet you think there's something that could violate the inviolate? Is that a tiny mad idea? So I want you to see where he's going with this in this paragraph, okay? And again, I reflect on both from Kathy when we had the discussion. Salvation and forgiveness are the same, but even that is part of a process that will, without attack, that sounds loving, right? Completely get rid of the notion that the impossible could ever have happened. Therefore, you get these paradoxes where you finally, or I finally get saved, only to find out there was nothing for me to be saved from. The whole thing was a bunch of worry and madness. It was a tiny man. It was stupid. And then all I can do is laugh and thank God it was a mistake.
So, Reverend, are you, my conclusion is when I see salvation and forgiveness are the same, what I want to think is salvation and forgiveness, it doesn't even exist.
Right.
If we,
The whole thing's
that-
ridiculous.
it's a sham or, okay, thank you.
Okay. If the truth is true, if the truth is inviolate, we're banging our heads against impenetrable walls, aren't we?
Mhm.
Yes.
But it's not like we got to sacrifice something, because what you're letting go will be replaced by an abundance beyond, certainly a lot better than what we're doing now. Because in the first place, let me tell you a fundamental one. You don't give a damn. You're carefree. Whatever happens, happens, and I'll just trust and act as though it's loving. Because all of this stuff says its nature is love, but I have to actually live from there to experience it, to elevate to this miracle realm, and to experience them. So as I forgive and let go and let God, I'll start to see for myself that God is real. Anybody know? Okay. So shall we continue, my friends?
Yes.
All right, does anybody, I'm showing Kathy is next. I think I messed up the reading, but does that make sense? Reader 6?
I think Frank, you should go. You
Frank?
think?
Okay.
Kathy after Hildegard.
Okay.
Yeah. How did we ever get Julie in? Do you want to read Julie?
I can read.
All right. We're on
So
4,
Sure.
right?
4? Okay.
I have no idea.
Paragraph, okay, paragraph 4. Yeah. What joins the separated
Oh,
mind?
yes, we did do it. It had
Yeah,
those
I read that.
keys, right?
So 5?
5.
But let's finish. Let me finish 4. We left off paragraph 3. What but a thought of God could be this plan by which the never done is overlooked and sins forgotten which were never real? God's plan for salvation. Yes?
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Because now in less than 100, he's going to start telling us about God's plan. First, he starts with, my plan is essential to God's plan. My part is essential, right? He's telling you God's got a plan, right? Which we've read about. Remember when it said a harsh and strident voice arose as the ego's voice? And God didn't destroy it. He just gave the answer. The answer is your teacher. What's another name for your teacher with the capital T? Am I confusing you? Okay, don't let me rattle you here tonight. Who's the voice for God? Who's our teacher, our comforter, our
The Holy
nurturer,
Holy
our
Spirit.
guide? Okay, that's who I'm talking about. Okay, so I'm not surprised in the springing a new term on you, right? But the point I'm making, he's just talking about the same instant that we read about way back in the text when God took care of the problem of this stupid separation thing. But it can't come about without your permission. It's just that the permission has to be genuine. And you'll see it come into you as you let go of all the false ideas. It allows what was already there to come into our awareness and use. You can't use a power you don't even think is real, can you?
Nope.
So it must first come to you. So do you see how that's wrapping up with all we've talked about? Is this helpful or am I spending too much time?
It's extremely helpful.
What about the rest of you?
Yes.
Yes.
It's the digesting that is.
Yes.
So this stuff works despite appearances because it's moving all your appearances toward a new goal. There'll become opportunities to practice this stuff. I know for me, I'm still finding out the nuances of just little tinges of anger in some, like just with uh, calling about credit cards and stuff like that. And just kind of going, I could have handled that even nicer. I'm not as nasty as I used to be, but still, I do take a tone that's kind of a nice nasty. I know that never happens to any of you folks, but I'm just sharing, right? We're all on a journey, right?
Right.
All right, shall we continue? I think, are we on paragraph 5?
Yes,
Yeah.
we are.
All right, thank you, my dear. And Julie read, so we're up to Ron.
No, I didn't read, I don't think.
We're up.
I was gonna read, but then
I
you
got
were.
preempted, sorry. Read
That's
paragraph
okay.
5 then, sorry.
It's okay. The Holy Spirit holds this plan of God exactly as it was received of him within the mind of God and in your own. It is apart from time in that its source is timeless, yet it operates in time because of your belief that time is real. Unshaken does the Holy Spirit look on what you see, on sin and pain and death, on grief and separation and on loss. Yet does he know one thing must still be true. God is still love, and this is not his will.
Keep going, please. Do another.
Sure. This is the thought that brings illusions to the truth and sees them as appearances behind which is the changeless and the sure. This is the thought that saves and that forgives because it lays no faith in what is not created by the only source it knows. This is the thought whose function is to save by giving you its function as your own. Salvation is your function, and with the one to whom the plan was given. Now are you entrusted with this plan along with him. He has one answer to appearances, regardless of their form, their size, their depth, or any attribute they seem to have. Salvation is my only function here. God still is love, and this is not his will.
I think, are there comments or questions? Well, I think it's my turn here. I'll do paragraph 7. You who will yet work miracles, be sure you practice well the idea for today. What is the idea for today, my friends?
Salvation is my only function.
Thank you. Does that include, I'm sorry, let me keep reading. Try to perceive the strength in what you say, for these are words in which your freedom lies. Your Father loves you. All the world of pain is not his will. Forgive yourself the thought he wanted this for you. Then let the thought, capital T, with which he has replaced all your mistakes, enter the darkened places of your mind. That thought the thoughts that never were his will. And I just have to say, if I may, do you see the word replaced? Everything you made to fear will be transformed into your way home. See it differently than before, because its purpose has been miraculously changed form. Remember, God did not destroy the voice. He gave your teacher to show you how to get out of the mess of the tiny mad idea. The process starts with a F. What is that?
Forgiveness.
Thank you. Somebody else come to my rescue. Thank you, Hilda. So let me read another, okay? Paragraph 8. This part belongs to God, as does the rest. It does not think its solitary thoughts and make them real by hiding them from him. Let in the light, and you will look upon no obstacle to what he wills for you. Open your secrets to his kindly light and see how bright this life still shines in you. If you try it, you'll see it's true, but you have to try it. Right? And I mean, you see it yourself or you wouldn't be here. It's very compelling if you try it. It's a no-brainer. It's far superior. It won't take you long to recognize that. But we have to stay consistent despite appearances. And it gets easier and you get more committed as we go along. It becomes a joyous journey because it works. That's a happy thought, to find something that always works, isn't it? Forgiveness always works. That doesn't mean you're letting people run over you. Let your teacher tell you what forgiveness means in a given circumstance. Next reader is, we're back to Sherilyn White.
Okay,
You're on 9, right?
yes. Practice his thought today, and let his light seek out and lighten up all darkened spots and shine through them to join them to the rest. It is God's will your mind be one with his. It is God's will that he has but one son. It is God's will that his one son is you. Think of these things in practicing today and start the lesson that we learned today with the instruction in the way of truth. Salvation is my only function here. Salvation and forgiveness are the same.
Read a little more there. You see sentence 8.
Then turn to him who shares your function here and let him teach you what you need to learn to lay all fear aside and know yourself as love, which has no opposite in you.
Who's him?
Forgive.
In sentence 8, the capital H person.
Oh,
Who is that?
him who shares your function here.
Who's him who shares your
God,
function?
the Holy Spirit.
Yeah. Isn't that the same teacher that God gave us the answer that we just read about, right?
Yep. Okay. You want me to go on?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Forgive all thoughts which would oppose the truth of your completion, unity, and peace. You cannot lose the gifts your Father gave. You do not want to be another self. You have no function that is not of God. Forgive yourself, the one you think you may. Forgiveness and salvation are the same. Forgive what you have made, and you are saved. There is a special message for today which has the power to remove all forms of doubt and fear forever from your mind. If you are tempted to believe them true, remember that appearance cannot withstand the truth these mighty words contain. Salvation is my only function here. God still is love, and this is not his will.
And so, Frank, if you'll do the last couple of, well, the last paragraph, sir.
Your only function tells you you are one. Remind yourself of this between the times you give 5 minutes to be shared with him who shares God's plan with you. Remind yourself, salvation is my only function here.
Finish it up, Frank. Mhm.
Thus do you lay forgiveness on your mind, and let all fear be gently laid aside, that love may find its rightful place in you and show you that you are the Son of God.
Thank you. Any comments before our meditation period? Okay. Sherilyn, you didn't have a comment, did you? I'm just seeing here. Okay.
No,
All right.
well, my comment is I really need to study this more.
No, you're getting it. You're getting it.
I've
Just
been away
let
from
it
it for so long.
marinate.
Pardon?
Remember, your path has already been created. If you worry into it at all, if you have any anxiety about it, it blocks understanding rather than expands it.
Yes. Mhm.
We're going to go with the flow, right?
Right.
We're going to let go and let God,
Let God.
right? And
Right.
let the proof be in the pudding, right?
Right.
Right.
But we're going to take our hands off of it and see what the hell happens.
I needed this tonight because of what's going on where I live. I just have to let go, let God.
I think so. And yeah, I highly recommend it. Cheryl and I have talked earlier about some things. So yeah, that's what we're going to do and see if it works. And then if it does, we'll go, oh my God, it worked.
I'm a firm believer that us older people are in our second childhood when I observe things that go
Yeah.
on.
Or we could say a rebirth, right?
Well, it doesn't feel like a rebirth. It feels like a repetition of unsolved things.
But all that is the conflict that your ego is, as expected, putting up. You've been engaged in these ways for a long time.
Oh, Jim, don't be.
Well, I was just thinking maybe I
kidding.
shouldn't go too long,
That's all right.
but I
We all
only
get
say
old.
it to make the point, to let the process, all is well, all is, just
Yes.
relax, take a deep breath. And that's something most of us aren't used to. It takes some real getting used to in spite of what we used to perceive as difficult or worrisome situations, you see?
Oh, yes.
So all is well. All right. Ready for meditation? Salvation is my only function here. And let's just spend a few minutes apart from the words we've read to see if we can open the gate to some insights. So as usual, I've got, hope I do this right, forgive me. I've got some music to put on, so let me just do it. Salvation is my only function here. Okay, two of our favorite questions. What am I? Right? What's our other favorite question?
Why am I here?
This, regardless of what we've been taught, is why we're here. Again, remember Earth School, my book?
Yes.
The world is a lesson. It's an educational experience to teach us what we are. Isn't that our fervent prayer? To know what we are? But it has to come not through words. It has to come through removing the mistakes of the tiny mad idea. And we have a teacher that will show us how to correct the errors in our thinking and give us practice in doing it so we can see how it feels good, it feels joyous, it feels carefree, it feels happy, and is a desirable alternative. What would be given up is not a sacrifice, right?
Right.
Giving up stress, anxiety, pain, death, all of the ways of the world only brings into awareness a realization of a greater reality, and that it is an educational experience for us. So now I want to be a good student. I don't want to run away from stuff. I don't want to be afraid of stuff. I want to test out this new transformation and see how it works, because it's really hard to share it if it ain't working for me. I am a demonstration. That's why I'm here. I'm part of a grand teaching, one by which God's kids mature into spiritual adults, where we gain the wisdom that removes the self-doubt that's come about with this stupid, tiny, mad idea. Healing is the impossible is not possible, kids. Hello. The impossible can't happen by definition. But being love, I have to let you learn it for yourself. So I'll put you in a safe learning environment, i.e., your little illusion or dream world. But it can have a purpose for you once you see it for what it is. And don't run from it, engage it. But engage it with this new, with your true self, the one that doesn't get angry and upset all the time and is stressed out about everything as if something bad's gonna happen. only good can happen if love is real. So is that a good place to start wrapping up? We didn't even make it to chapter 15. Are you comfortable with this pace? I can go faster.
I like this pace.
Me
Okay.
too. Me too. I like to go slower because it takes a while to absorb. I need to hear it over and over again.
Yes, me too.
And I'm okay going slow because a lot of time what we gain is not just understanding of what we're talking about, but like a more universal understanding that you can take into your reading of other things. It'll help you to assimilate what Jesus is saying in these other parts if you have some of these established. If you kind of understand the world is a lesson, okay? So it's not something to run from, but it's something to learn from. It's a teaching tool, it's a teaching device. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, what the hell do I know for sure? Nothing. I'm just betting. And even if it's not true, my life is happier here and now while I'm living out whatever this is. So I'm just giving it a try. If it works, fine. If not, I'm going to let it go. But you can't teach it. You can't teach it's going to work for other people if it ain't working for you.
That's right.
So that's what this is all about. And remember the double talk statement says, unknown to you, you've had this power, but you can't know you have it unless you experience it. And if you just experience it, it will share of it. That won't be hard.
Mm.
And I'm lazy. Any final comments, questions, concerns in that? It looks like one night we're doing the text and the next night we're doing the workbook, but I'm just trying to mix it up as best I can and following our schedule, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you all for being here, everybody, and I guess we're ready to close.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank
Yes.
you.
I am ready. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. I am the light of God.
I am the
I
light
am
of
the light of God.
I am the love of God.
I
I
am.
I
am the love
am the love of God.
I am the power of God.
I am the
the
power
power
of God.
God.
I am the presence of God.
I am the
I am the
presence
presence
of
of
God.
God.
Therefore,
Therefore,
wherever I am,
Wherever I
wherever
am,
I am,
God is,
God is,
and all is well.
and all is well.
well.
There is nothing to fear.
There is
there's
nothing.
nothing to fear.
There is only love.
There's only love.
Only love.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste. If that's true, you have no enemies and you can walk full stride all the time, right?
Yes.
See you next time, and thank you so much for being here and joining our study group tonight. Take care, y'all.
Thank you for your support.
Absolutely. Good
Have a
night.
blessed week. Bye.
Namaste.
Be well, Frank.
Namaste.
Namaste.